dun 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 dun. Hey guys, it's the Golden Penguin back with another video. And today we're going to be doing my first ever review of a Transformer.
Hot shot, jet fire, vector prime.
Instead of the usual basics of FNAF I used to do, which I might still be doing. Skylanders reviews, which I'm still planning on doing. FNAF AR videos, gaming videos, my YTP. This time I'm going to try a Transformers review. This could be interesting, but there's only one way to find out, and that's by starting. So I am going to be looking at my spoiler pack Ultra Magnus. Now, it's called a spoiler pack because there's like a little thing inside that's written in Cybertronian that has spoilers to the Netflix show. I'll get to that in a second when I review the box. But this is a figure I got pretty recently, and I figure what better way to start out with.
Yes.
You guys know my episodes aren't scripted if you ever watched me before. So, there could be some flaws, to say the least. But, let's start with the packaging. So, Netflix's War for Cybertron trilogy, a Netflix original series. It's a Generations toy. So overall, it's a pretty cool box. You can see some Energon poking out there, like in this little crack here. I'm already fully zoomed in. Cybertronian, which I don't know how to read. I don't think anybody knows how to read it. At the top, there's a handle. There's the Autobot symbol. On the side, it just says spoilers inside in multiple different languages. I'm going to give it a second to focus. There we go. There's the tab. It's a little bit ripped since I already opened it. There's the Energon crack at the bottom. The bottom is pretty basic, just the same colors as the rest. We got the side where there's this cool artwork of Ultra Magnus. And then the back where it's just really, really big spoilers inside. And then there's a bullet hole, which is just prime. And then there's another bullet hole. I mean, look at the bullet hole. And then there's more Energon crack. This thing looks like it was just like dropped into a war zone. My God. Okay. So, once we open up the box, I'm just going to shake it a little since it's already opened. We got the spoilers I was talking about, which are partially ripped. So, haha. No more spoilers inside. You guys can read this, feel free to. Decepticon symbol, Autobot symbol. There was Play-Doh here. I don't know whose idea it was, but they marketed this, selling it with Play-Doh. You know, they didn't even market it. It just came with Play-Doh, and there was Energon inside the Play-Doh. We'll get to that in a second. Open that up. Take out this. It's gonna be already open, so the figure isn't going to be like in all the new plastic and stuff. I've already used him quite a bit. It doesn't look that used, but it is. You'll tell because he won't have the armor on. And I'll get to that. And here he is. Ultra Magnus. Or just White Optimus Prime. There's the big Autobot symbol in the back. And here he is. Now, overall in the boxing, this is probably one of the best boxes I have. It's really cool. They did have some impressive details on there, even though it was mostly just bullet holes and Energon cracks everywhere and a lot of spoilers inside. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize after you said it the first million times. But it's okay. Give it an 8.5 on the box. Yes, I'm going to be rating them. I want to try something different. Now, to the next part. What was I going to do next? I don't know, I'm filming this on my couch. I'm that lazy. Let's get on to the figure itself. By the way, I'm going to be counting armor as accessories for this video, and I'm going to do accessories separately. So, the figure itself in its White Optimus Prime form. We've got nice footing. I mean, it's always at this weird tilt. It always, like, comes apart and it sits at this weird tilt, and I don't like it. It's kind of hard to stand, so that takes a few points off. But we got the crotch plate here, I'm going to call it, that you can... Sorry, my hand's in the way. You can pull it out, flip it, so it looks more like Ultra Magnus when he has his armor on. There's the back where you can, like, pull out his spine, like this little tab here. I'm not going to do it right now. And you can pull this up and down for more Ultra Magnus action. You get little tabs on the back of the feet to help him stand, which I can admit does work sometimes. Although he was never in this form in the show, if he was, I'd say it was probably show accurate. The armor was really show accurate. I'm going to get to that in a second, though. We got some places everywhere to put in the guns and other accessories he came with. We got joints and really good articulation in the joints, I'm going to say. Now, I'm no expert on Transformers, but I do love them, and I do have a lot of them. And I will say this is one of the best ones I have. One of the most... I'm going to use the word articulate a lot, but that too. That's what it is. Got a swivel on the head. It's not full 360, but it can at least do this. But it can't go up and down very much, unlike another figure that I have. But we'll get to that later. It can also open up its chest when you take both the arms off, which is another thing you can do. And it has the head inside of it. Normally I could... Here, see? I'm using one hand to hold the camera, so I can't really do this with one hand. There you go. Got one arm like that. And you can put the head inside. Now, when you get this figure, the head will come inside, and you'll have to do this to get it out. So, overall, on the figure, solid 9. You guys are all going to think I'm giving it high ratings, but it kind of deserves it. You guys probably don't have the figure. But one more thing I want to mention before I just stick with that rating of 9 is that I got my friends and we compared them, and we've also had other sources online with different versions. Each figure has like its own battle damage. Mine like barely has any, but there's like wearing in different parts compared to my friend Aiden's. And it's just a nice touch. So, now we'll get to the next part, which should be the accessories. So, the accessories. It comes with all of this armor. And, like, I first saw this armor, and I saw these joints here, and I tried pulling it out. And when I did, I found out that he has, like, a freaking fence on his leg. Ultra Magnus owned a farm, E-I-E-I-O. He could have, like, an entire, like, what I just said, a farm. He could have, like, an entire farm just with his legs. Anyway, there is fold-outs for the transformation. You can fold out his chest. You can fold out his backpack here. You could even probably store stuff in the backpack, but I haven't tried that yet. There's more places where you can put the guns, like on his back and on his shoulders here. I already talked about the legs, but there's some stuff on them too, where you can slide these into his legs. There's more places on them for guns. Oh yeah, the shoulders and the arms. There they are. So here's one of the shoulder things. Now, the shoulder things were one of my biggest problem with the armor and the accessories. Actually, it's probably just the biggest problem altogether, because they slide off so easily. When I'm, like, posing the figure, they'll just slide right off. I don't know if that's just my issue or a common issue, and it's mainly only the one shoulder, which I think is this one here. But that's really my only issue with it. And they have, like, these tabs here so they can slide in, and these tabs can connect to each other. And then there's the armor, which there really isn't much to say about it, but they still do have holes in them, so props for that. More ways to store the guns. Now, as for guns, there were 3 sizes of guns. There were these little ones, which look a little bit like a zapper or grenade launcher. There were the slightly bigger guns. There are 2 of each of them, by the way, except for the biggest size. These ones have, like, another space to put a gun in them. So it's like you could stack all the guns on top of each other. And then there was the biggest gun, the bestest gun. Oh, I dropped it. Well, it's on the floor now. Just beautiful. but there was the bestest gun, and it has more holes on it. So, like what I just said, you can stack all the guns on top of each other and just make one giant ultimate gun. So, overall for the guns, I thought they were pretty good. And there was a lot of room to put them on, which I'll give her props for that. Came with these little Energon cubes that were in the Play-Doh. I don't know why they were in the Play-Doh, but they decided that it was a good idea to package in Play-Doh with a transformer and then put Energon cubes in it. There are these little zappy things which you can connect to some of his accessories and to him, and more importantly, to the final accessory, which I am going to count as an accessory, the Minicon rung that he came with, who I do remember from the More Than Meets the Eye in the Lost Light comics as Primus. Why was he Primus? I can't remember. But he can transform into a gun. Ow. The transformation is pretty easy. And it doesn't honestly look that good. But that's basically like halfway to the transformation there. And then you can like attach the Energon zappy thingies to his feet. So, there are the accessories. Those ones I'm going to give a solid 10 just because of how much he came with and made this worth my purchase. Now, honestly, this thing was like $60 retail price, and I got it for $25 at Ollie's, plus with another discount on top of that. So I did get it cheap, but this is probably my most worthwhile purchase I've ever made. So, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 for accessories. The only problem I had was the one shoulder, and I think that's faulty since the other shoulder works just fine. And there's one more thing I have to cover before I say goodbye to this interview, which is the transformation. Now, the transformation is pretty easy. You just pull the legs back, do what you put his head in there, and then just pull the arms back, pull this down, flip the legs around. It's a basic transformation. It has a few steps to it, but I can do it pretty fast if I didn't only have one arm to do it with. The only problem is, and I don't even have to transform it to show you this, is that this is blue, and everybody else I've showed it pointed this out to me. This is blue, and the rest is white when he's not with his armor on. And even with the armor on, the armor transforms into a trailer, which was slightly harder, because there were a bunch of points you had to click together, and it took a little bit, because you had to get them all clicked together at the same time. But the blue is just so glaring from the rest of it. It's like, when you transform it, you have, like, the white windshield, the white top, the white legs, the white everything, and then you just see this giant blue thing emerging from the front. And, my friend asked me if switching the crotch plate would do anything to switch it to the Ultra Magnus one. But it won't, because the crotch plate isn't showing during the transformation, so you can't cover up anything in blue to help it. And there's no way to change the color of this. Maybe that's what the Play-Doh was for, but why would I use Play-Doh? Oh my gosh, why? Why with the Play-Doh? Why? 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 Why did you come with Play-Doh? Why? I'm so confused.
You traitor!
But for the transformation, the trailer was hard, the Minicon was easy, and he had the problem with the blue. So I'm going to give that a 7.5. And now that I finally have covered basically everything there is to cover with him, I am going to give the entire figure overall... I can't exactly give myself a drum roll. 9.5. First review, I wanted to start it off good, so I chose one of my favorite figures, one of the most articulated I had, and honestly, I would recommend this figure to people. Although the retail price is a bit expensive, if you can, like, find one at the Ollie's like I did, or on a discount, even used, it's still a worthwhile purchase, just as long as it comes with all the accessories. And the Energon was a really nice touch, because over all the Transformers I've gotten, some of them only came with one accessory, some of them came with, like, 2 guns, and that's it. But this one came with, like, an entire set of armor and guns and Energon and a Minicon. And it's just really good. The box art was good. The accessories are good. Everything was good. The transformation was kind of mediocre. So it deserves the 9.5 I gave it. I don't know if I'll ever have one with a 10 rating or, like, a really low rating, like a 1. Unless it's this one Transformer I have, which I'll get to also, but I don't want to spoil it ahead of time. I have never been able to transform it. It was my first Decepticon that I ever got. And every time I try to transform it, it falls apart. I even asked other people's house, like, help. Like, when I see my dad, I ask him to transform it, since he used to have the G1 ones when he was younger. And he tries to transform it, falls apart. My cousin, who also is a big collector, tries to transform it, falls apart. His dad, who was a collector, because since him and my dad are brothers, they both had the G1 ones as a kid, falls apart. In fact, I might have to ask my other uncles if they can do anything about this. But until that review, Ultra Magnus 9.5 would recommend. And on the last final note, Ultra Magnus had a farm. E-I-E-I-O!